Yeah, hello everyone, and welcome to the Hardcore Metal Detecting Radio Show. I'm Derek Askler, and Mr. Craig Talley's on the line here. We'll be hosting the show tonight. Pretty much open lines. If you have a topic you want to talk about, feel free to call in at 352-504-4170. Or you can even put it up on chat right there, and we'll try to, keep up with that. Me and Craig don't do a good job at walking and chewing gum at the same time, but we'll try to do it. But at any rate, it's been kind of a busy week for us, or for me anyways. We were out here, we've been getting rain and storms and everything here, but went over to trim some trees up today and with a pole saw, and it did real good. It got most of the stuff down, and was working on the last one. It started raining, so I stopped for a few minutes. It stopped, and I got up there and started trimming again, and then the lightning started, and I decided holding up a 12-foot pole saw up in the air probably wasn't the best idea. I have a few brain cells I didn't want to burn out and put my lights out forever, so I packed it up. But dragging all that around, just trying to get stuff done. But man, I tell you, I'm about whooped. So if I get a little rambling tonight, Craig, just put the reins on me there, pull me back a little bit. A lot of stuff going on, a lot of good things, positive things. Well, heck, we'll kind of, I guess, Craig, we could just start talking about the email I got this morning from a young lady over there in the UK that wants to, she's doing an interview for, I believe it was for her, final term paper or something like that. I believe she was in college. I didn't get much of a chance to read. I did answer her, so I'd be, more than happy to do an, the email interview kind of thing about what my thoughts were on why there's not as many women in the hobby of metal detecting or something along those lines. And, the first thing that popped into my head, and I was telling Craig just before the show that, well, there is a lot of women in metal detecting, and they're very good at it. I mean, they've been over at least the last 10 years that I know of, there's been a significant increase in everybody, a lot more people getting involved in metal detecting, kids and women and everybody, and we all enjoy the hobby. I mean, even my mother's like getting the bug, and she wants to get out there and metal detect all the time. Pauline does, and of course, I don't, Barbara and Sam, Sam is into it, Sam Waters and Barbara Connor. And you know how I am about names. I mean, there's tons of women in this hobby, and they do a doggone good job. And heck, they pretty much blow me away most of the time anyway. I actually, when I went up to the Florida hunt, I met a lot of ladies up there that were metal detecting, and of course, my mom and I were there, and man, they were making some good finds. Now, matter of fact, one of the ladies here in Central Florida, and I'm horrible with names. I know faces like crazy, but she's very good. I mean, she outdoes a lot of people, and the way that she hunts is pretty much methodical. I call it methodical. Anyways, you're really searching and really making sure you cover the ground good and everything. And she's been doing it for years. I mean, a lot more. I believe she has at least 20 years. I thought anyway. I mean, I knew she had more time than me, I believe. And there was a lady there that I think she was 70, 74. 75, loves metal detecting out there too, and me and Mike Miller, my mother there, we sat there and talked to her for a little while, and she just had she was the funniest lady, but man, she'd get out there and just walk them hills just like anybody else, the kids too, Craig, we had a chance to up there at the CWPPO and met Josh Buckwater for the first time, and his son Cody, and all the other kids that were hunting up there, they hunted until they were just so wore out they fell asleep on the field almost, So anyways, what I was getting at really was I did extend a hand out that, that if she wanted to come on to the show as a guest host or whatever, and maybe we can kind of plan this a little bit if some of you ladies would like to call in, when this goes on, or even be on the show. We just keep y'all on the line there and give this girl some good information, and what your backgrounds are maybe, and what you hunt for, or what you're using, that kind of thing. I thought it's a little bit different turn on what she's wanting, I think, but and I don't know how it is over in the UK either. I know it's a big hobby around the world, but it's just here in the U.S. I know we shoot. there's a lot of husbands and wives that metal detect. I mean, there's a lot of people that met metal detecting, and shoot, even got married. I remember the Digging Virginia event. I can't remember the couple's name, but they got married right there at the event. So there's families are definitely involved in the hobby, and it's a good hobby to be involved with. So, I'll keep you informed on that. But I thought it'd be nice to get a few of you ladies on there. Maybe I know Sam will call in, no problem at all, and Barbara probably would too, no problem. But just to give her a lot more information, help her out a little bit, and heck, put a little good mark on the hobby. So we take our chances, right, Craig? Whenever we get a chance to do something, we do it. So
yeah.
But Craig, you were just telling me a story. Go ahead. Yeah, go ahead.
Well, we were kind of talking about this before the show, and I was mentioning the first time I ever saw anybody metal detecting was at Ocean City, Maryland, and I must have been about maybe 10 years old. It was probably, I don't know, maybe 1963, somewhere around there. And this older lady's coming down the beach, and I don't even remember what the machine looked like, but she was swinging this thing, and I said, Dad, what is going on with that? And so he goes, oh, that's one of those mine detectors or something, and she's probably using it to, look for stuff people dropped. And I was like, well, what do you mean? And he said, yeah, money and stuff, and I said, wow. Mm-hmm. So, and then later on, we were at the hotel, and we went there every summer, for years, and we knew all the people that worked there, and my dad was talking to the lady that ran the hotel, and she said, oh, that woman comes out at the crack of dawn and hunts until people start coming onto the beach, and then she leaves. But she said, she's found, thousands of rings and, thousands of silver coins, and, it's just unbelievable, the amount of stuff she's found.
Oh yeah.
And there's nobody else doing it. And so I was thinking, God, even if you had a machine that only went an inch deep, just think of what you would have found.
Oh God, yeah. We've all had those spots, like old pennies and dimes are sitting like an inch down in the ground. Yeah, you definitely hit them in those days.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But I was over the years I sold a lot of machines, and I was a president of a club for 2 years, and I've been to other clubs, and it seems like not too many women in the beginning, but probably around 1990 or so, all of a sudden there was, a lot more women were metal detecting. And
I think that
I was into, relic hunting, and, there wasn't as many women probably, relic hunting, but there was, quite a few of them coin hunting and jewelry hunting and stuff. And
well, that's what I was going to say about it, Craig, too.
I knew some water hunters too that a couple of the ladies hunted with their husbands. When they went water hunting all the time.
I can remember back in the day, Craig. That I don't think there's even. To me, it's not really because and the way the email was that it was male dominated, and I don't think that it is in a way, but I don't think it's something that it interests so many people. Even if they're not into the hobby, they want to know what you're finding. They show enough interest to stop in their tracks and talk to you on a beach or wherever else. And it's equal across the board, men, women, kids, whatever. It doesn't matter. And I just don't think it's really male. I think it's just the way people that have interest in it are in it. Because I know a lot of ladies have been in it for longer than I have. Or right up there with you. Well, that one lady been detecting, like you said, 63. That's hardcore right there. Those things were heavy. But yeah. I get that question. I don't think there really is. But trying to explain that, to someone, I don't know how it is around the world. I wouldn't think it'd be that much different around the world too. I think if they had a chance and, if they had an interest in it, hell, my mother, Pauline, a lot of ladies around, and even, well, Barbara, her niece, I think, got into metal detecting, and so it's not gender by any means. I think it's just, whoever, you get that first interest in it. If it sparks an interest, you're probably hooked for life, really. I mean, Craig, the first time you ever saw somebody with metal detector, you thought it was neat. I remember the first time I saw a metal detector, me and my dad actually tried to build one, in a Radio Shack or a Popular Mechanics magazine or something. And but I remember the magazines and stuff had women detectors in them. So, I don't know what it was like everywhere else. So, but yeah, I think it'd be a good idea, at least, show a positive light on everything. But, Craig, you've had, like Instagram you were talking about early too. That's an opportunity, I think. But, Craig and I, we do this. We'll call, he'll call about 10 minutes before the show. And this week just happened to be a week of good news, I guess, or positive things. And, with you were telling me about that about Instagram, Craig. I think it's a good opportunity for a lot of people in the hobby to get involved with the getting their name out there, so to speak.
Yeah. Well, today I got this message from them, and I've been doing Instagram for about 9 or 10 months. I'm getting up toward, I think, 600 followers or something. But you can put photos, and I do nature photos, flowers, all kinds of, nature stuff. I do anything I see that looks interesting. I'll take a photo and put it on. I do my relics. I do little short videos, of me metal detecting and stuff. And you could only do, like, at first I think it was 10 seconds, and then they went up to about 20 that you could do. Well, today you can do 10 minutes. And if you're a creator that's making money and got endorsements from, promoting products and stuff, then you can do up to an hour. But what you do is you get followers and stuff. And I just went in and looked at all these people. Like, I'm interested in tennis. So I started following, like, pro players and top coaches and all kinds of people that do, stuff like that. And I did, what else? All kinds of drones. There's so many drone people putting up photos and
it just sounds like
videos.
Sounds like a simpler way to, I don't know. It's not so much politics in it or whatever.
But yeah, well, you can put politics in it.
No, I meant the politics of, Facebook and all the stuff that's going on. It just, I was watching the news for once because I was at the Post, and I saw the little. I didn't hear all of it because you didn't have sound up, but I could read what they were putting on there, and they were talking about how it's so easy to do not compared to Facebook, but compared to other formats or something. So, I thought it'd give it a try.
Yeah. Well, this one is called. They got a little round icon on your page, and you can touch it, and it's got. I think it's called IGTV, Instagram TV.
Yeah.
So, it just got started today, and it was a little glitchy. But I could still get what I wanted to do. But I put up 3 of my YouTube videos on it.
Well, probably everybody in the world's hitting it too. So I mean, that's understandable.
But what you can do, you can, I was promoting Bliss Tools, so now I'm promoting the radio show.
Yeah.
And
okay.
Just put hashtags on everything you like. Just put a hashtag on there, and it kind of draws people in. And then when you follow people, everybody wants to follow back and stuff because it just kind of, grows your
your audience or whatever, your friends or whatever.
You want as many people seeing you as you want,
Yeah.
Because I've been trying to promote the radio show a little bit more, and I even went on this thing called My Tuner Radio, and it basically you can type in anything on in the country practically, I guess, and maybe in the whole world. I don't know, but
Did they have a
come up
TV?
with radio stations. So
Right.
they had a podcast thing on there. So I typed in hardcore metal detecting radio and it popped up.
Really?
So I was like, oh
Okay.
man, that is cool.
How did that?
So
Well, they just pull information or what? Not pull information, but pull, if their radio, whatever page or whatever. So they just, and they can download our shows. I don't care. But I mean, I was just surprised. I don't even know we were on there yet. So.
Well, I was.
Sorry,
I
guys.
I deal Nielsen radio polls.
Yeah.
And when I made like $10, for just filling out a thing, for like 7 days,
Right.
listening to the radio. But so I was telling the lady, I said we had a podcast radio show, and so she goes, "Oh, they count too now," and I go, "Really?" And she goes, "Oh yeah." She goes, "It is booming." She said it is one of the biggest growths we've ever seen.
Really? Okay.
And
cool.
yeah, and she said advertising and just anybody can put up a podcast now, and
Really?
so
Okay.
it is huge. So she said that actually counts as listening to the radio.
Well, that explains
and
something to me, Craig, because I've been getting. Remember, I told you, we look at the, the analytics or whatever of the show, and we know that people how what downloads there are and how many shows we have and followers and all that kind of stuff. And I kept on telling you when I pull it up on my cell phone and I hit it a certain way, it's like I can't even remember how. I'm just going to say, I don't know, 36,000 plays, or I don't know. But anyways, it always comes up like 20 or 30,000 more on my cell phone. And I remember I questioned about that many times, and I was like, I don't know where that's coming from. They're saying other avenues or other, oh God, my computer illiteracy, I don't know what it's called. But anyways, other apps and stuff that don't report how many people are clicking or listening or however they figured out. They're not reporting it, but it still shows up somehow. And I'm like, well, God, that's kind of weird, because I really don't know. Analytics are great. It just gives me an idea. Okay, if I'm doing a better show or a worse show, or we have to change a topic or something like that, or try to do something different. And that's all I ever thought about it. But I never thought about it may be going to other venues that we don't even I didn't know we were on there at all. So that's kind of cool. But
yeah, this is an app off of I have on my iPad, and I listen to radio stations that I used to listen to when I was in Alexandria. That
right.
I can get one of them up here now, but the rest I can't. But it's just they got all kinds of apps now, on Android and iOS where you can basically have your own radio station, set it up, put all the different channels you want to watch. Same thing with these. It looks like the same thing because I went through and found a couple other channels also were on there too that they're doing it on Spreaker. So Spreaker is huge. I mean, I don't know if they're the biggest or not, but
I don't know. It's the best I've ever come across so far, anyways. I don't know. I know Mixler's still there.
I have to research, more about different companies that are doing it and stuff.
Well, it's not the only one. Like Mixler, we used that for the first, 6 months, but it may have improved. I mean, it was just that we couldn't get good connections, but they were also, I don't know if they were new, but they were obviously newer back then. So their format may be something that people wouldn't have as much problems with. I'm sure the technology's jumped. But Spreaker's always been really good.
I saw a thing the other day where somebody put out a video. I put out a podcast on Mixler. So I guess
we're still on there. I guess
still around,
but
they may have improved it. The process. It's got to be, processing all those podcasts. I mean, there's hundreds of thousands of them now. I think. I don't know.
It's a first 25. Yeah, it's like the first 25 shows that we ever did are on Mixler. Still, they're in the archives there, and I actually as got to think about going back and listening to do it myself because just to, you know, how much, if we've improved or whatever, just trying to get an idea of it. I mean, I thought it was cool that we were still, had our archive shows on and everything. Of course, I downloaded to make sure I got my stuff, but like Thousand Mics, that was another one, Craig, that we tried. A lot of us have, as far as, like Beyond Sight and Sound was on there, Butch Holcomb with, American Relic Roundup and all that, and, we just the technology, whatever, the link ups, we'd have interrupted shows and stuff, but I think they're out of business now, Craig. I think somebody bought the deal and shut it down. I don't know. I mean, I couldn't find anything. I mean, it shows it being there, then it goes to some other website, but it's not Thousand Mics anymore. But Spreaker, man, I tell you what, I haven't had anywhere near the problem that I did with the others. I mean, it was so relatively easy. We've had problems on our side a couple times.
Yeah, that's what I was going to say. That's
yeah, I mean, with Skype and and everything. And Skype's really clean. I mean, I downloaded the earlier version. It's been very easy. Just don't do the updates because it'll screw everything up again, and it's a devil to get it back the way it was. And but yeah, we've had good connections every once in a while, except for Howard Hewitt when he that was a crazy show when we had Howard Hewitt on here and actually had to do a redo show because man, there was all kinds of crazy stuff going on there. Still haven't figured out what was going on, but yeah, I mean that was mostly on our side or Skype or something like with the app or the way my computer is reading the app and stuff. So yeah, very impressed with Spreaker. I mean they I don't know, they've done their job and solve some problems for us. So, I mean, all in all, I see them becoming very big. There's so many topics. There's so many different kind of radio shows on their podcast radio shows. Something for everybody, crafting, and heck, there's probably, I know there's sports and news and radio, regular music radio.
Yeah. Well, even all these journalists and
realtors,
people that are on TV and radio are doing podcasts even.
There's Realty
and
everything.
Yeah, it's amazing. Some of them been doing it for years, but now it's huge.
Yeah, I listen to a lot of the shows.
It's like,
go ahead.
It's like a lot of the kids that I coached, a few years ago. I was asking them about, hey, you guys ever listen to any podcasts? And they were like looking at me like, what are you, crazy? Every one of them did.
Yeah,
It's like, and they're going to work now, listening to podcasts on the way to work, and I hear it on the YouTube channel. On my YouTube channel, people will comment. I listen to your radio show and I like it, and but I can't listen to it live, so I listen to it on the way to work. And this one guy goes, better than anything else on the radio. So I was like,
oh yeah,
cool.
I mean, I was sitting there thinking a little while ago that. Just the opportunities for, our friends and stuff on the show here, all our listeners, and opportunities they can, these are opportunities that you can figure out your own niche and get in there. Not just the podcast radio. If that, that's not for everybody. Believe me, it's a learning experience. But it can be kind of nutty for some people to do. Just like. They're not into it, but I mean, you have other avenues with this Instagram, with, there's ways of using this to not only get your name better well known. Maybe you make a product or, a shovel or whatever, or it doesn't even have to be in metal detecting, but I mean, it's an opportunity for you to get your name out there, get your product out there, what you do or whatever. So, take advantage of it. I mean, if you can figure out a unique way of doing it. That's what I would say, Craig. I mean, that's what you're doing. I mean, you jumped on Instagram. I still haven't had a nerve to get on there because I just feel like I have so much going on. But, really, I'm not on Facebook. I mean, I'm on Facebook, obviously, but, I mean, I'm not anywhere near what I was, we'll say, 6 months ago. And I know a lot of the guys are like that. And it's become such a political time bomb or whatever it seems like. It's just ready to blow. That's what I think, but...
Yeah, like I started, after I heard all that stuff about what, them, selling all their data to everybody, and I just kind of started slacking up on that, and I went over to Twitter and Instagram more, and but it's there's a lot of people starting to want to compete with YouTube, and Instagram is probably going to be good competition to them.
Well,
when they're just starting on the video stuff, and Facebook is definitely in the competition with Google. They want to. The video market is huge. I mean, people want to watch videos. I mean, that's just.
And I
people are watching them on their phones even now.
YouTube, it's. I don't know. I have a lot of like music. I like different kinds of music and stuff. So I save them in favorites or whatever my watch list. And I do watch videos through them, obviously. But as far as putting my own videos, I mean, I've kind of just. I had to shut that part of my world down a little bit. I mean, I do put the radio shows automatically go over to YouTube, and we get a few views here and there, and that's great, if people enjoy it or listen to it that way. But really, haven't done much lately, time-wise, but that's even become because YouTube made some changes I wasn't real impressed with, and, we all know what that has been running, just the way they changed their policies and stuff, but and I know that they're getting slammed. They need somebody else out there. They need competition. Competition is good. I've always believed that. My wife taught me that a long time ago, and it's always held true. Competition is good because it gives regular people, a choice. It just doesn't have to be Facebook or YouTube, or it can be Instagram. It can be whatever else. And, you remember back in the day where MySpace was the most popular thing around, and then bam, they were gone. Not gone. I think they're still there somewhere. But even Twitter, Twitter's been taking a little bit of a hit too, haven't they? Or maybe they're bigger than ever. I don't know. But
actually, they've started making a little bit of money. They were losing money. They never made money for a long time. But it's like there's a ton of journalists and all kinds of experts on there. It's a lot of politics.
There's good information. I'm not beating up on them. I just didn't think they were as prevalent. Instagram seems like it's going to be pretty dang big. I mean, they're doing stuff that's making it easier for people to get on there. I guess. I mean, that's best I can figure. It's easier to navigate.
Yeah, I see it growing. I mean, there's in this new videos where you can put a 10-minute video. That's going to be
huge.
That's going to be a game changer. And they'll probably up it up. Down the road, once they get it started going. I think it's going to work because there's a lot of people on Instagram.
We talked about how many hours of video go up in like 1 minute or 2 minutes or whatever on YouTube.
On YouTube,
yeah,
it's something like what is it?
I wanted to say several.
I think it's something like I don't know, something like 30 years worth of videos going up every day or something like that.
Times or 30,000 hours or
it might even be more than that. I mean,
that's a lot of information pumping into them and how they're storing it. I mean, they must have mega supercomputers or something. I don't know how they do all that, but
that's
a lot of information.
Cloud. They're huge in cloud storage.
Yeah. Because it's just crazy amount. You think about the amount of hours and amount of information. Oh my gosh, that's huge. So yeah, I mean, they're not going to hurt anybody real bad. I don't think. I think it's a good thing for the just regular people. It's just another avenue to take, and it's different. It's a different format a little bit. The way they have it set up. So hey, all the power to them. The way I look at it.
Well, another thing you can do now is you don't have to save your photos. It'll also automatically go into their cloud on Instagram, I think.
Mm-hmm. I use it like that too. When I want to share something to you or something like that, I just you just mark it private, whatever, send you the URL, and boom, you can watch it. That's nice. I mean, to be able to do that, especially if we're doing videos and we're comparing. Craig and I are comparing. How this setting worked on his detector compared to mine to make sure that we're given the right information on how, the Ballisto was reacting or how whatever detector, Deus, or it doesn't matter really, it's just a good comparison tool. You don't have to, how do you send a video? You can't send a video through email very easily unless you put it, in a PDF or some crazy thing to mass storage kind of thing. So putting it on YouTube or Facebook or whatever, just, privately, at least you get, you can use it as a tool to help you out, the way you make your videos or what have you, or even how, how settings are working or it makes sense to use it that way. Mm-hmm. Because it's frustrating because I was working with Evan over at Serious Detecting, trying to set him raw footage and stuff for what we're doing. Oh, I forgot to mention that too. But anyway, we're using Dropbox a lot of time for that because I don't know of I haven't messed with a better venue yet, but they seem to be pretty good. It just takes a while to upload. And downloading, it's no big deal for you guys or for whoever I'm sending it to. But that's the way we were exchanging raw footage and stuff because then they can do more with it and fix up my screw ups or color or whatever else. They can adjust stuff on their side. So yeah, it's there's not sending that kind of a file somewhere is a little bit especially for newcomers just trying to do this. It's frustrating. So if Instagram can make that a little bit easier, hey, shoot, 10-minute video. That's a long video really. Most of mine I try to keep under 10 minutes anyway, unless it's for something specific like a function or a hunt or whatever. I'll make longer ones, but keeping it short time, you keep the people's attention too. I mean, unless you're well, a lot of people are better than I am at videos, but you know what I mean, Craig. If you can keep the interest going, that's pretty tough. People lose interest. I lose interest after about maybe 3 minutes, 4 minutes if it's not going anywhere. Or I'll fast forward through the video, and it's not just my preference. Yeah. Really. It's nothing personal about the person's video. It's just okay. I've seen the intro before, or it's just like fast forwarding through the intros on a TV show. I just get through that. Okay, let's get to the meat and potatoes of it because I already know what they do in that first part. So it's no insult, just the way it is. But you're able to do that. So, but yeah, we're using this stuff in our hobby. Craig. It's kind of neat. Are they doing any of the live? Is it live feed also? Like like on Facebook, you can do a live video, or is it? Have they done?
You can do it if you want. I guess I don't know. I can't remember if you can do it on Instagram or not. I think you can. But
let's check that out.
Most of the people that do it probably have a ton of followers. Thousands of followers and. They may even put out the word a little ahead of time or something. I don't know.
Like Dave
but
does,
you can do it. You can do it on Facebook. You can do it on YouTube.
Oh yeah. I mean, as far as performance goes,
they got YouTube Live now. But from what I see, you don't have very many people. Usually you don't get that many people for the hour. You might, some of the big people I saw that one guy has about 7,000. Subscribers, and he only was getting about 13 or 14. Started off 3 or 4 the first half an hour, and then he got up to about 13 or 14 people.
Yeah, but I wasn't doing it for more of a money thing, but just I've seen like Sam and Evan have done the live. Dave Ettinger, from Don't Tread on Me Facebook page, he does. He has guitar. Concerts. I like them myself, but doing that live, whether that function on Instagram will work better, because I know I've had problems with Facebook, because I'm sure a lot of people are doing it at the same time too. The picture's choppy, and sometimes you can't link up, and it's not really about how many people watch it. It's just being social, like Dwight Collin. He does it at New Age Goonies. He does, or I think he's still doing. I haven't had a chance to watch, but a metal detecting morning video type thing, and he's out there metal detecting everything, doing his deal, and he does that live. So that's if there's a better way of doing it, hey, or if it's a better what am I thinking about, Craig? Performance wise, the way it works.
Yeah.
Try it out, see if it works. So you could be playing with Morgan, do a live video.
Oh, I saw
I'll watch
crazy thing yesterday. Evidently, the archaeologists were at the Manassas battlefield, and recently, and they I don't know if they were doing a dig or what, or if this was uncovered, but they found two bodies and 11 limbs in one hole, foot deep. And I guess this area had been plowed or something over the years and carried one of the skulls away and part of the other skull. And one body was on top of the other.
Huh.
And the first guy was, don't think he had a uniform. And he had suppose he was shot in the butt, and then it went through and then down into his leg right above the thigh. I mean, right in his thigh, right above the hip.
Wow.
And or just below the hip. I'm sorry. And it was a infield, so he was shot by Confederates, and it was definitely a mortal wound because it would have hit this one artery. And so they also did I guess they did DNA tests on both these bodies, and they were all pretty much from the north, they think, and by the DNA. Wow. But I thought that was pretty cool.
Yeah.
But anyway, the second body underneath, I don't know if they saw any wounds on him or not, but he had remnants of a coat with 4 eagle buttons, and then next to him, and one body was kind of over top of the other body a little bit, and so anyway, then they found 11 sawed-off leg bones from probably 9 different individuals, and they were all sawed off by surgeons, and they were all stacked right next to the bodies in a pile right in the hole. And this was at Battle of Second Manassas, so it's just north of Manassas, I believe. Nice. And so we were talking about it, on I put the article up, and people were talking about it a little bit, and I was saying, after the battle, they just hastily buried people, they, especially like an army in retreat or whatever. And I said, I've read about some of these battlefields. There was just so many dead bodies on the field that people came from all around after the armies left and had to bury them. And,
right.
It was a lot of work, and a lot of them, they didn't know who they were or anything, and they were just in unmarked graves, and they're probably all over the place. And there were several. After that, people started saying, "Oh yeah, I just heard of one that washed up." They were these shallow graves. And there was an account that the year after one battle, the Battle of Chantilly, they buried people in haste, and then the next year they were going through the same area, and there was a heavy rainstorm, and they could see the bodies. The dirt had washed off of them. They would come, but it just shows you the horror of war.
Oh my God, yeah. I was kind of speechless there for a minute. That doesn't happen.
Yeah.
Well, we had a question too, Craig. Hang on just a second. It was Tim. Tim was asking about headphones that has adjustments for the volume that works well with the V6. Craig and I both use Killer Bees, and I don't know, I really like them, but I have also used Sunray Golds, and I like those too. I was more or less just a tone thing, or the way the tone comes through sometimes on the Killer Bees. For my ears, the tones I hear are a little bit better, but quality-wise, Sunray Golds or Killer Bees, Grey Ghost, or I've never used a pair of Grey Ghost. I just don't know, but they've been a reputable company for a long time, and I like the Rattlesnake ones they have. I think those are the same company. It makes the one-sided headphone that has a volume knob on there. They call them rattlesnake phones or something like that, so you can hear rattlesnakes. But at any rate, those look, Killer Bees have treated me good. I haven't had any problem. I've dropped them. I've tripped on them. I've caught the doggone cord on stuff. I don't know. They haven't, knock on wood, haven't broken yet. And I got those. Matter of fact, I got them at the DIV in the fall of 2015, I believe. I believe that's the DIV I went to. and I bought them from shoot, North Georgia Relics, I believe. He had a booth there, and I bought my first set of Killer Bees there. And Craig, I think you got yours before me or after me, but whatever. But
yeah, I got mine from Treasure Mountain.
Treasure Mountain,
and that was quite a while back, and they've been, very, very good. They got the L-shaped jack, so that takes the pressure off of the thing when it bends a little bit.
Angle turn there on it.
Yeah, I like that. They almost look brand new. I can just wipe them off, and they don't even look like they've been used hardly.
Right. And definitely, guys, be careful.
Very good quality.
Yeah, be careful
they're expensive.
of clones.
I think I paid about $125, $130 for them, but
yeah, I paid $79
it's worth it. I bought
something like
that.
I
bought $20 headphones for years.
Mm-hmm. well, one thing I want to tell them, Craig, guys and gals, whatever I call guys, everybody, whatever. But anyways, be careful of the clone problem we have. I mean, I don't know if it's I haven't heard anything. I'm not saying it, but I'm saying like not Garrett, but I'm just going to say Pinpointer.
Yeah.
I can't remember which ones, but there's people out there that are countries that are cloning these items, trying to make them look just like the good stuff, and they're selling them for dirt cheap. So be careful about price, because obviously you want to buy from somebody like George, Don up there at North Georgia Relics, or Treasure Mountain. Heath Jones is over there. Sirius Detecting. Evan up there at Sirius Detecting. Even Calico or whatever. You gotta buy from somebody that's reputable. If they're on there for $25, don't waste your time. There's something wrong with them, or they're knockoffs. I don't know. I'm assuming that this is going a lot bigger on every kind of item. Not even metal detecting items, but other items too. I've noticed that, and I've gotten a few over the years where they're just, junk. And then they say, "Well, we have this code and this authenticity thing," and just beware. I mean, don't get caught up in that mess, because Craig, I think you honestly got a set of. I'm not even saying that manufacturer headphones, and it wasn't the ones we were talking about, but remember the set you got and you plugged them in and it fried your detector. That happened in like 2013 or 14, and you had to send it to me, and it threw all the safeties, and it ended up being it didn't have a ground wire, some crazy thing in that cord, and so yeah, I mean, Craig could have got his hands on one of those, or who he bought it from may have inadvertently got a shipment of a bad item, so a cloned item, I should say, a counterfeit. So it happens in clothing and their shoes and everything else too in the world, but be careful.
I don't know if anybody heard this today, but they just passed or the Supreme Court ruled that you now have to pay sales tax to the state you're from or something off the internet.
You know what, guys? I don't have to do that because we don't have state tax. Woo-hoo! I'm sorry. Florida doesn't have state income tax, sales tax. Yeah, I got to pay that.
Well, that's what it is.
Oh, okay. I thought you meant some states have it, some states don't. So I got excited. I'm sorry. It's been a long day. Go ahead, Greg. Sorry.
So I don't like that too much, but I guess
I don't either.
I guess what it was doing was, the internet's killing off the local retailers, that are trying to sell stuff.
I sell.
It's like
I sell stuff on the internet. I sell stuff at yard sales. I sell stuff at flea markets, whatever. And we got to pay, sales tax on all that. You're paying, as far as business, whatever. Even used items, quarter piece items and everything else, you got to pay a tax, But I don't know. I think they're losing money, yes, but I don't think they're losing as much as they think they are. You know what I mean? As far as it just, when you think about it, you pay tax on everything. So, I don't understand what the problem. I get the problem, but how are they going to regulate this? You know what I mean? as far as
they're going to force the people that you buy it from to,
well,
to take the tax out.
yeah,
That's the only way they can do it.
Yeah,
really.
I mean, if they have I guess
if it's voluntary, I'm not going to volunteer it.
well, being a business, yeah, you're right, because these people, but like I'm a business, so I have to do it. You know what I mean? But I don't understand for like, are you talking about even like if you were to sell just to any metal detector you had to pay charge sales tax or that, or pay sales tax? You think? Are they going to go that crazy with it, or?
I don't know unless you have probably not if you're just selling, off.
I wasn't sure.
Off,
I mean,
I think if you've got a retail site off the internet, then
where
you're have an actual business, then you probably do. I don't know.
Well, Barbara says yes, you do. Yes, you do.
Yeah,
Sorry, I was eating. Well, thanks, Barbara, because I really wasn't sure. Obviously, if you're a business or you sell retail items or whatever, you have a company, you have a business, like you got to pay taxes. I mean, there's no doubt about it. But I didn't realize just for individuals. But just one more thing. Sorry about that. But shoot, I want to say, Robert Walgass there. He told me about thought about doing a live streaming show on YouTube. And no, Robert, no, I just told him I heard not until now. I never really even thought about it, but thanks. Because that, it's another avenue just to put the show up, because like our shows get shared or whatever. Spreaker automatically shares them to my Facebook page. But I never even thought about putting it live through there too. Craig, have you ever done that? Any kind of,
No, but I see people doing it. I mean, my friend Jeff Millard does it from Austria.
I should just have to embed the code in
I saw
there.
one the other day. He did. He does one about once a week, I think.
Uh-huh.
But
that's a good idea.
Doesn't get a lot of people, but he's starting to get a few more. But you can put it up. It goes up kind of like a regular YouTube channel.
Oh, okay.
So you can watch it later, and I guess I don't know if it counts as a YouTube channel or not. It might. It's almost the same thing. I mean, you just
I would think so.
And people type in stuff in chat to you, ask you questions and stuff, and
Well, I mean, if that's kind of neat in a way. I guess I didn't. It's been a crazy couple of months, guys. I mean, you know that already, because my life is kind of bouncing all over the place sometimes.
You saw David Ettinger. What was it, last year? Did the hour and a half concert. On live on Facebook. It's kind of like that. People are doing that kind of stuff too.
Oh, all right. Yeah, that makes sense too. Yeah, Dave, I always try to tune into that thing. And I like, Dwight Collin does stuff too, and I'll tune in. He was at a parade in Orlando or something like that, or amusement park. I see him live. Okay, I'm hitting it. Or I think Mark Hoover's done it, and like I said, Sam Waters and everything. You guys are all about it. I just can't keep up with all that. I listen in when I see the little thing come up on my cell phone. It'll tell me when you guys, whatever, leave me a message or whatever, and I'll see that, so-and-so's gone live. So I'll have to click over there and see what it's all about. Curiosity, right? So, yeah, just a lot of avenues you can use, in whatever you do in the, regular world. Then you got your metal detecting world. I mean, my neighbor, got a couple of neighbors that, so we listened to your show the other night. Oh, really? Yeah, we saw you. We got this message on Facebook, or we got this message on YouTube, or, whatever. You were going live or something like that, so we listened. We like it. I'm like, okay, that's great. I didn't, because they're not really. They like the idea of metal detecting. They show an interest, and they have the adventure part of it. They want to go find stuff. I don't know. I haven't met very many people that didn't like it or didn't show, some kind of curiosity about it. So, I don't know. Matter of fact, no, we did, Craig. Remember that one guy? Oh, why you guys do that for? It's a waste of time.
Yeah.
Something like that. But I mean, it's like, okay, dude, you're not going to give it a shot. It's not for you. It's okay. It's at least more relics for me. I'm good. But then again, on the same side of the coin, the other side of the coin, I go over here and on Saturday, and here's a landowner that's really interested in history and wanting to learn how to metal detect and everything else, and what's the best detector, and will you show me how to use it? And I'm like, heck yeah, man. I mean, if you want to learn, I'll teach you. What I know, anyways. And not that I'm the best, but I mean, we try to do for my style. Yeah, I'm good. But I mean, I see a lot of other guys out there that are probably better than me. Tons of them. They get spend more time out there. They have more, infield practice or whatever you want to call it. It's this experience. It's kind of like Brandon and I think Bill Marsh and me and you were talking about as far as a seasoned hunter versus years of experience. Because if you detect once a year, but you've been doing it for 50 years, obviously even somebody that has 1 year experience in metal detects every week has more seasoned kind of knowledge about metal detecting. So try to help somebody out, and it helps me out. I got a place to hunt, and we get to find cool stuff. So what the heck, that's a good deal as far as I'm concerned. That's how we all met, really. I mean, Craig, you and Bill, everybody that's on the show, with the exception of I think a couple. I mean, I've met at hunts or whatever else. I mean, we've been on Facebook and stuff, obviously, but meeting face to face, I can't say this has definitely introduced me to a lot of people, and I know it has for you, Craig. I mean, you got quite a following as far as people in the hobby, and it's nice. I mean, we follow them, they follow us, and it's all good, and we're all having fun, talking about metal detecting or even the other hobbies. I really like gold prospecting, the idea of it. I mean, I don't have really any experience with it, but of course, I'm hooked on all the shows. I even watch the old shows, the Gold Fever and stuff like that. I can find them on, sometimes you can get them on Facebook, or on YouTube and stuff like that. It's just like, I'm trying to think of the one show. You catch these. That's what got me about when we were talking about movies or TV shows that have metal detectors in them. Every one I've ever watched is like totally, they're not using the detector anywhere near right. It's not believable, and because we always key on it, Craig. We're in the hobby. The guy's not even swinging right. He's not holding the coil, 8 inches above the ground outward, like a Geiger counter or something like that. So with all that, with all the people that know about metal detecting in the country and everything else, I just thought that would have changed over the years, but that's still pretty much the same. They have that one show in Europe. I like it. That comedy one. Or kind of comedy, the two English guys go out metal detecting and this and that.
Yeah, I've never watched that.
I've watched a couple episodes already. It's funny, but I mean, at least they use the metal detectors right. I mean, they're thorough. I think they actually metal detect, if I'm not mistaken, but I can't remember what the background was on it. But yeah, I mean, it was kind of like a TV show or a TV show that they actually did it, promoted our hobby right in that aspect anyway. Or of course, the regular shows like Big Fellas.
I remember watching a short clip somewhere, and one of them was metal detecting, and the other guy was taking a break, and all of a sudden he digs up this thing, and it looks like the end of a spear, and so he's like showing it to his friend, and his friend goes, well, why don't you go over and wash it off? There's a thing right there. And he walks up, and there's a fence behind it. It's full of all these spikes, just like the one he just dug up. And they were talking about how it could be Roman. It could be Saxon. It could be, all this stuff, And
So we find the humor in that because we've all done that. We've all had that item that oh, my God, this is something fantastic. And in the next minute or two, you're like, shoot, they're all over the place. It's like
the look on the guy's face was priceless when he sees what it really is. Oh man, I was laughing. I probably ought to go and watch some more of those shows.
Yeah, it's kind of like a hobbyist comedy. I don't know. I like it. I just, I don't get a lot of time to do that, with everything else going on. But man, I tell you, that's what I remember the best being, as far as being. The way they actually metal detect is better than anything else I've seen on like regular TV other than a metal detecting show or a treasure hunting show. Obviously, they know what they're doing, but yeah, that I just laugh. Like Bones. You ever watch that show Bones? It's a series. It's I think it's done now, but yeah, they're here. They're working for the through the Jeffersonian Museum, and they're solving crimes and everything. And you know, they're all these scientists that have all these fancy gadgets, and they know how to. But then they get a metal detector, they do it totally wrong. I'm like, really? You know, everything else they do perfect in the whole show, all the science and everything, and they can't. They don't know how to work a metal detector, and I thought it was comical. I still like the show and everything, but I have to point it out every time I watch it. My wife waits for it because we rewatch series that are good and stuff. So she goes, "Oh, wait a minute, here's your part. That guy doesn't know what he's doing." So my favorite one, I think, was CSI Miami or maybe it was L.A., where somebody dies on the beach, and the guy goes out there with this meter thing. He goes, "Okay, I'm seeing a bottle cap. It's like supposed to be like metal detector or whatever. It tells him, he's pointing it around. There's a bottle cap. There's a pull tab. Oh, there's a penny. I don't see a gun anywhere. I don't see any, you know." I'm like, really? You can't stand 50 yards away and tell where everything is, you know? And it's like totally false or whatever. I don't think they have that kind of technology and never will tell you what's in the ground every single word just by pointing an antenna at it. I mean, they do have mineral Craig, you know, where that I don't even know if that thing works. It's like a dowsing rods, but it's an electronic one. Have you seen those advertised over the years? I mean, that was,
God.
You know,
we had
that's
a
like,
guy come to our club and demonstrate one.
Yeah.
And so about probably a quarter of a mile from where we were having the meetings was this guy that was the first guy that started the club, Roger Staples. He was a coin dealer, and he also sold White's metal detectors, and quite good at finding stuff himself. And so somebody, I said, well, you know, the guy was doing it inside, you know, and that's, you know, showing it was basically a gimbal, and from what I hear, it's got wires inside, but they're not hooked up to anything. It's just basically supposedly like a dowsing rod. But I'm kind of skeptical about it. But maybe some of them are different nowadays. But you know, these things are going for like $2,500 and stuff.
Right.
And so I said, well, I don't think that thing's working right. And the guy goes, "What do you mean?" And I said, "It ought to be pointing straight to that guy's shop right over there."
Yeah, no kidding. Yeah. I could see him working.
All his gold and silver coins and stuff there. You know?
Yeah, I mean, I could see it in an environment like in the middle of a desert, or like in Arizona somewhere where you're away from all the EMI, all that hoopla stuff around you, because we know how EMI messes with metal detectors and anything electronic to some extent. What would make that thing work? I mean, like you said, I mean, he's sitting there doing that, and I don't know. I believe in dowsing. I believe that there's people out there that can. It's part mind. Your mind has to be wrapped around the way that it's supposed to work. I can't do it. Maybe I can't. Well, like I have one of the pastors at my church. He could find water. He knew right where to dig a well, but he could try to find gold or something like that. Wouldn't even work for him. So I think that there's personalities and mindsets where dowsing does work. Darren Groves was a perfect example of it. He could walk, and and he showed you where a foundation was, an ancient foundation, every time. He just had that ability. Now he can't sit there and find gold or silver coins and this and that, I don't think. But he always said you had to open up your mind and think about and concentrate on what you wanted in a way that wasn't greedy. Almost not spiritual, but in that realm, to make those work, you had to have the right mindset. So, we do have.
When I was president of the Springfield Detectors Club, the one guy brought a set of dowsing rods one time to the club, and we went out to the parking lot when we were leaving, and guy dropped a thing of keys on the ground in the grass area, right next to the library. And then all of us tried using them, and there was probably, I don't know, 15 of us maybe, and I think 6 people picked it up, and the rest of us didn't.
Yeah,
I didn't.
You definitely have to have the right aura about you or something. Something has to link you to that. And you guys, you don't have to go out there and I saw a pair on a.
Some people were surprised. They didn't have any idea they would be able to pick it up.
Yeah, it's just natural. It's just one of those things you can do where you can't. I mean, it's like most people are right eye dominant. I'm left eye dominant. It's not as prevalent. Not very many people as a whole that are left eye dominant. I think it's a pain in the butt myself because I shoot a lot of guns, in rifles and stuff like that, or did in the past, and I can't keep both eyes open. I've got to close one eye. Now, if I was shooting left-handed, I wouldn't have a problem. Fighter pilots are another one that can't be left eye dominant because a lot of this, well, maybe now, but the sightings, the sights they use on their helmet, they used to flip over one side of their eye, the right eye. They can't concentrate on. They can't see that as well. They have to really, really, really concentrate in order to see that image of those crosshairs or whatever on that piece, the sighting mechanism that's only over the right eye. They're left eye dominant. So if it was on the other side, they wouldn't have a problem with it. So yeah, that actually can keep you from being a pilot. It also messes up with your. There's something else that messes with too. It's not your. As I say, distance, whatever, lining up stuff, you can do that. But anyways, it's a big problem with those. So I mean, the dowsing is the same kind of thing. Either you got it or you don't. And I think you could probably kind of, I guess, train yourself to use them. I mean, I would think so. I mean, anything you put your mind to, you can do. But don't spend the big money. I saw a set on some website. It was like $265, essentially stainless. I mean, I'm not going to say just stainless steel rods, but guys, you can make a pair of these things yourself, and it's probably better if you did anyways. In a way, I would think using copper tubing and some kind of of course, the antenna, whatever you want to call them, the dowsing rods themselves would sit inside those. You grab a hold of that. That way, they can spin freely. You can even use, if you had to, just even coat hangers, I would think would work. I mean, if wood works, I've seen people douse for water with a dowsing stick or whatever, pretty much a V or a Y-shaped stick and, walk with it or whatever.
Yeah.
So you don't need to spend huge money. I mean, obviously it's just like metal detectors. If you haven't done it before, obviously you have a learning curve and everything else, and start off slow, man, see if it works. Then you can, if you think it's going to be better, try it. We did have a question, Craig. I wanted to get to this. Tim was saying that I think he has a V6, if I'm not mistaken, Tim. He's saying he's digging tons of trash, like for months. Any words of advice for me? Getting frustrated. I've literally found 0 items that aren't trash. Okay, Tim. I'm not. I'm just going to kind of go through a list, kind of quickly with you. But first of all, it's pretty much set up. I don't know how you have the machine set up. Now, if you have it set up like I'm telling you, and you're still not getting a good repeatable signal, I'm assuming that's what you're talking about. Because if you're talking about trash like cans and stuff, obviously you're going to dig that. I mean, it's non-ferrous, but I can get you around that too. With the V6, with what I would call a normal mode, and not with iron ore mode or anything like that, you pretty much set your machine up, your discrimination toggle in 3, that accepts all non-ferrous items. Your DL, which is your discrimination level, I'd put that around 5, maybe a little bit higher. You could put it up to 6.5 if you want to and still keep nickel. And your discrimination depth, run that thing up to 9.5 at least. You can run it up to 10 if you'd like. Keep your threshold around 3.5 to 4. Silencer on 2. And, of course, you do a ground balance before. You can even go as far as a ferrite ground balance with a V6. That's going to be 6.75, 6.8, and go that way. You should not be digging anything non-ferrous at all, really, unless it's a big old axe head or something. You're not going to dig nails, square nails. I mean, most metal items probably under, I don't know, Craig. I've had horseshoe spit on those settings that were really that deep. So if you're doing those kind of settings and you're still getting a lot of junk metal items, I would say go into iron ore mode, which is
well, what
zero
kind
on
of
the
junk
game.
is he getting?
Well,
what
that's
kind of junk items is he getting?
right. Well,
is
that's
it
what
iron,
I
or is it just
Hang
stuff
on.
in general?
Yeah, I got to go down through here and see. I said, yeah, scrap metal and stuff. Okay, Tim, if you could just say steel or iron. Is it iron or is it other like copper, brass pieces,
Aluminum.
Right.
Aluminum.
If it's just iron, just put iron on the chat, and I'll know exactly what. And they are kind of large. Okay, so that's another factor when you're dealing with axe heads and I don't know, spare tire rims or something, or headlight brackets. I don't know. I mean, those kind of coffee cans lids. Yeah, they're going to be. That's going to be hard to not get a signal. Now, if you said all kinds. I think so. If you're digging aluminum, copper, aluminum, I can tell you how to get around it. Just put your discrimination toggle in number 1 toggle. That eliminates everything but silver, clad coins, and but it will knock out aluminum. I can knock out a beer can and stomp my coil on it and not make a peep. Pull tabs, obviously, but you're going to lose nickel and gold. Now, copper and brass are want to come through. They may give you a beep with a spit at the end of it. Those are going to be copper items, lead items, brass items. But the clean signals, it's going to be probably clad. Sometimes pennies will come through like that. Now we're also depth has a lot to do with it too. But go ahead, Craig. Go ahead. Sorry.
I got a cherry picking, thing that I do sometimes, and you're not going to dig any nickels, and you're probably not going to dig any pull tabs. You might dig a spitty sound on a square tab, but you'll dig, coins, pennies, copper and silver coins, probably brass buttons and stuff like that. Just put the both discriminators on 10.
Yep.
And run it that way.
Use that silencer too.
Basically, you'll knock out everything except for pretty much high conductors.
Right. And it's very good at it.
That's if you're in a super trashy park, you can put it at this. I've used. I can dig a Civil War bullet or even a coat button, brass coat button with that setting.
I want to ask him too. Is this in the same spot?
It'll also give you a chance to learn what the sounds sound like. Because the aluminum, once you get used to it, you can almost hear the aluminum. I know some guys that hunt really trashy parks with the V6, and if they get really banging signals, they don't. If they can lift the coil off the ground, they just let it go.
Right. Well, Tim asked too. What discrimination toggle switch? The discrimination toggle on the front of the machine, all the way to the left bottom. It's a little toggle. It goes. It's 3 zones: 1, 2, and 3. 1 is going to be in the center. It says it right on there, and that's the toggle switch we're talking about. And then when he's talking about is turn in your discrimination depth 10, turn your discrimination level to 10. That's the most discrimination you can possibly get, but it's still going to let through. Oh, sorry. Go ahead, Craig.
Yeah, and then just the toggle you want at 3.
Oh, you want the 3? Oh, okay, you're giving him cherry picking. Sorry, I'm sorry, I messed him up.
Yeah, if you're doing it for cherry picking. Yeah.
Right. Well, the way I was telling you is one, but anyway.
That'll give you a way to practice and learn the signals better instead of having to fight the trash all the time. If there's coins in the area, you'll learn how that they're going to be a real sharp, smaller signature than a lot of big trash is.
And I need to ask him too, Craig. Tim, are you detecting the same spot with these results? Are you getting these results at different spots, or is this on the same property? Because it may have been I've had these places that used to be an auto part junkyard, and they filled it in, and good God, you're talking alternators and all this big, and they're deep, but they're such a big footprint or such a big All in his yard. Okay, Tim. Number one, if you're getting erratic, make sure dog fences are off. Make sure you're not getting EMI too. Is it falsing a lot? If you put that on chat, these are a lot of factors. Take it to a different spot because you may have a number one. There just may be a lot of junk in your yard, and I have the same situation here at my house. Or you have some kind of an interference thing going on, which you can deal with frequency offset, and that's the front knob on the front of the machine all the way to the right top. That's a frequency switch. You can go from normal mode to turbo mode, but there's 600 hertz to get around any interference. I haven't had it. The only thing that's ever dogged me was an electric fence transformer where you hook the wires to it. If I get within 50 feet of that, I don't think there's a metal detector out there that can deal with that. But I can deal with underneath electric fences, like along the field. Obviously, you want to be careful you don't hit it, but I mean, I don't have any problem with EMI in that area at all. And yeah, near power lines, are you getting falsing sounds also? If it's going, it does it with most detectors, but you're getting electromagnetic or power, whatever, in the air. And you have to adjust. A lot of detectors have frequency offset or something along those lines.
You can also put it down and put it into OR mode.
Right. Zero.
Just, gain. Mm-hmm. And probably like 5. Just put it on 5 and 5 on the ground balance.
Tim, I didn't even think about it. If you go to go ahead.
And just and use the same settings. Do 10 and 10, and see if you can actually pull a few coins or something out of the yard. The OR mode will protect you from the EMI better than the others. And also you can lower the threshold.
Yeah, threshold.
In my yard, up until recently, they just changed all the wires, so they're more insulated. And the Deus and the Blitztool were just hard to keep stable, real close, under those wires.
Silencer too.
So I was
turned it up.
Yeah, I was using silencer. I used the V3 with I think with 0 gain and 0 threshold, and I was still picking up coins at 5 and 6 inches deep, and that's with the V3. So, and it was quiet at that setting.
Hey, Craig, I made a video about this, and I just thought about it, about EMI, how to deal with EMI. It was under Blitztool or Blitztool metal detecting, or metal detecting with Blitztool, or something like that. I think it's on the Blitztool America site, Facebook page. I don't have it up on YouTube right now. It's marked private, and I'll see if I can get to it. But like I said, this weekend's going to be crazy for me. I'll try to get to it. But yeah, it deals. I show you on what EMI sounds like on our machine, the falsing, how to get around. 2 different ways to get around it. So if that's a problem, you can watch that video. Craig, if you can forward or whatever, send a URL or whatever. If you can find it, I'll try to remember to do that tomorrow, and try to get you that link or whatever to that video, so that you can watch it. But it's pretty simple. I mean, it sounds complicated on the radio because we're trying to describe stuff too. But if you're dealing with EMI, first that's what you got to figure out. If you're having falsing and stuff like that, you're near power lines. You already said, and there may be some other stuff going on there too. So, you could be dealing with 2 situations at once. And it can be frustrating, but you're going to get that no matter what detector. Oh yeah, Tim is newer to the hobby too, but still, you're going to get that in your yard. Cause I think I remember talking to you, and you were standing almost on your front porch or something, or in front of your front porch. So yeah, you're just dealing with some really harsh situation. It sounds like, and a lot of big items in the ground, and you may have to clear a lot of those out too. I mean, you may have no other choice because of the surface area it's covering. And it's blocking you up. Kind of like when I dug a 38-pound D-shackle and I got it out of the ground, then I'm finding coins around it. It's just such a big footprint that, I don't care what detector you're using, you're probably going to deal with that in that yard. But just saying. But I'll work with you on that too. Sorry about that. Sorry about not catching on to who you were right off the bat. I'm better with faces, and I noticed that you don't have a avatar, avatar on there, so I didn't really know. I couldn't remember I'm the worst named person in the whole world. I see your face, I'll remember you for 50 years. So, sorry.
My friend Mike, uses my Deus, and he was having trouble with, with the EMI in the yard.
Yeah.
And he tried to offset on the frequency and just wasn't working. So I said, drop the sensitivity down, just keep clicking it until it starts, clearing up. So he did. He went down about maybe 10 numbers, probably to about like from 90 down to about 80 on the sensitivity, and it cleared it right up. And he was going back over areas that he couldn't find anything before, and he was getting signals, And you don't know that this EMI is just, it's like you don't know how it's screwing your machine up,
Right.
Because it less is more in EMI situations. That's the way I deal with it. Everybody wants to run their machine as high as they can. I don't think you should do that all the time. I think
switch it up. Yeah.
You should go back over the area with a lower setting, and you might be surprised.
Well, you got to think about it too, Craig. I've said this many times that you of course less is more, but when you did it, you found more stuff in your yard. I mean, you went over the area a million times. You and Mike both, and then you lower your settings down. You go to a weird frequency. You just mix it up a little bit, and you're finding more stuff. And you're still finding junk. I mean, we all find junk, but when you're dealing with that big stuff, I just don't know. Craig, he may have to just start digging some of it, get it out of the way, and because you could be dealing with anything in the ground. Your house, if I remember right, was 17 late 1700, early 1800s. So yeah, I mean, you're talking pig metal and everything else.
A couple hundred years worth of trash going into the ground.
Pig iron,
Depending on
pig iron and stuff like that really messes with. Cast iron can mess. I know when I got a piece of cast iron, but I always want to dig it because
people didn't have trash cans and dumpsters back in the old days, so they just pitched stuff out the back window, or the kitchen window a lot of times. I went to these houses that this friend of mine used to, they used to buy properties and either renovate them or tear them down and put a new place on it. And a lot of times they'd bulldoze the yard. I'd get to go in there before and after. And this one house was 1850, I think. And the house next door, I'd found a lot of Civil War bullets and stuff. And I only found a few coins are in this guy's yard, but when you went in the backyard before they bulldozed it, it was so many clicks and snaps you couldn't even get a good signal. And I didn't have the Bliss tool back then. I think I was using a MineLab Explorer.
Yeah.
But I tried everything, and I couldn't pull a good signal out of there. And I was like, there's got to be something in this ground. So they ended up, when they bulldozed, I went back there, and I found several flat buttons and a V nickel and I think an Indian head.
Yeah.
But there was so much garbage in the ground. There was broken plates everywhere. I mean, just cups and plates and old rusty utensils and cans and
a junk pile.
Oh, it was just
junk pile.
I mean, the whole backyard was like that.
But that's not a bad thing either, Craig, because like you said, you found some. Tim, you probably could dig a 3 foot by 3 foot hole and start going down on that in that ground where you're getting all that mess of signals, and you could probably get a lot of good stuff in the first foot or two if it's that trashy. But you're going to dig junk. Don't get me wrong, but you're probably going to find coins. You're going to find, if this house, this property is that old, dude. I tell Craig that all the time. Dig a hole, brother. I mean, I can't wait till you and you might do that because I think you're going to find good stuff. It's just
Well, it's getting to the point where we're not really finding much anymore, but there's still iron. You can still hear the iron in the ground. And I was doing test holes in the side where I got that brief the other day, and I was digging nails and bits of brass and stuff down 2 feet deep in the ground.
Yep.
And the dirt's black all the way down there, so it's not any clay. It's still black.
Yeah, it doesn't have anything to stop the items, so they're just going deeper. And
yeah.
deeper.
and there's not a lot of rocks like there is in the rest of the yard.
Right.
We got like rock outcroppings sticking out of the ground in different places here and there, all over the place. You were in almost like in the foothills in the valley,
right?
The mountains.
I did want to say, Craig, that too on that property. I think he had a well on that property and stuff too. I mean, get a magnet, throw it down in that, into that well. If it's an old well, see what you pull up out of there. I mean, you never know, man. It may be iron items, but it'll give you an idea of the era, what you're pulling up. That'd be kind of neat. I've seen, I think Nugget Noggin did that, and I think Aqua Chigger's done it.
Aqua Chigger does it all the time.
That's a smart thing to do. I did want to say too, guys, I'm going to attempt to do a show on Saturday. If I cannot get linked up right, I will do I'm going to try to do a archive show. Because I'm going to be in Orlando at the Marriott or whatever. We're having our VFW state convention. And, there's going to be, Pauline, couple thousand more people there or something like that, isn't it? For the state convention? About 40,000. So I do not know what kind of Wi-Fi or whatever I'm going to be able to pull up there to do a show. So, we got to kind of play that by ear. But, it's a big deal for, Pauline and I, of course, part of the Veterans of Foreign Wars auxiliary. So, at any rate, I just wanted to put that out there. So I'm going to do my best. Do this show and everything. Yeah, it goes on. I'll be back. Well, Craig, I leave tomorrow morning. I'll be back on Sunday sometime. But, yeah, there's a lot of not awards. What is it? The opening ceremonies is tomorrow, right? Yeah. My wife's here. Sorry, I'm talking to 3 people at once. Or more than that, really. But yeah, so we're going to be doing that, and next week we'll be back to regular radio shows and everything. But I'm probably going to wrap it up tonight, Craig. I'm just beat, man. I'm kind of babbling now, so I'm just wore out. So is my wife. Pauline's been working double time now. It seems like, trying to get stuff done around here and everywhere else. So yeah, we'll be back. Hopefully, this will be like a little vacation. Kind of, sort of. So. Yeah,
I'm hoping it's going to stop raining. We've been having so much rain. I want to get back out in the yard and see what I can pull out, but it's stopping wet right now.
I'll tell you what, y'all be careful of the heat. I'm down here in Florida. You guys at Metal Tech down here, guys, I go out there and do work in the yard, and within about not even 10 minutes, man, I'm about just sweating so bad. You got to be, if you're not used to that, if you're from up north and just come down here in the last year or so, be careful. My neighbor passed out on me on my porch. I told you about that. And, that was, he's from New Jersey. But he said, man, I got so hot I couldn't see right. I couldn't, it happens. And, I was fine.
It's the humidity.
Yeah, humidity. Yeah. And we've been pushing 105, 106 feet index, too. A couple of days last week. We were almost near record. So, yeah, you can die. Heat stroke it can kill you. Be careful, So I don't mean to be, I just want to throw it out there. I know you guys, a lot of you know that, but I don't want to see anybody get hurt just having fun, And it happens. We had one guy at the post, a young guy, 21 years old, did that. Went out to the car and was, he's just sitting down there. He had a headache and he was just sitting there in the car. Didn't even think about it, but it got hot in the afternoon, and he got, luckily somebody went out and checked on him. I mean, he was 20, 22, 23 years old. Had just, we had to get ice and everything else for him. He just got heat stroke, essentially, or heat, whatever, too much heat. So
heat prostration.
Yeah. And he was not feeling really good. He got better, obviously, within the next, 30, 40 minutes, feeling a little bit better, but just be careful. Don't mess up. So you start feeling woozy, take a break.
Yeah.
So I'm going to let you go with that, guys. We're going to wrap this thing up, and my wife is wanting me to pack up. Yep. She's like, yep. All right, guys. Well, we're on every Thursday and Saturday night, 8 p.m. Eastern Time. Check us out on Spreaker.com. And be sure to like and follow the show. And Craig, I'll talk to you later.
All right,
brother. Okay, guys. Have a good night. Get out there. Keep digging. And God bless.